The Whispering Vaults is one of the sections of the Citadel which Hornet must pass through in her journey to stop Pharloom's haunting. The vaults are run by the Keepers, a stern and secretive sect of the Citadel caste. Hornet goes there in search of the Vault Keeper's melody, but like everywhere in the Citadel and Pharloom, she can discover many more hidden things within. The vaults were established by the Weavers during their rule of Pharloom for the purpose of safeguarding information about the Citadel's history. This notably includes only the Citadel and not the rest of the kingdom, which is instead represented in the Memoriam. Most of the vault's records are in the form of scrolls, while some others are in audio form, stored on cylinders which can be played by a special listening device. Despite being a library and archive, the vaults are not for browsing, with its records instead closely guarded by the vault's inhabitants, who believe the space to be holy and sacred. Keepers begin as Vault-born, who are raised in the darkest segment of the vaults and spend their lives ascending the ranks of their caste. Next are the Winged Lamp-bearers, which are a necessity because the vaults tend to be very dark despite having large overhead lights. Then there are the Large Scroll Readers, whose title describes their role. The highest in the caste are the Vault Keepers, led by a pontiff. Vault Keepers were tasked with delivering sermons and leading prayer for those within the vaults, though Hornet suspects that they were also intended to keep everyone there in line. The vaults have dedicated spaces for sermons to be given to an audience, and even Vault-born can be seen giving sermons to other Vault-born. By the time Hornet arrives in Pharloom, only one Vault Keeper is still alive and not haunted, Vault Keeper Cardinius, who is aware that it is the last keeper in sound mind. Cardinius can sense that Hornet is part Weaver, and although it feels disdain for them, it still defers to her as its kind were instructed to do long ago. Cardinius also has the only still functioning listening device in the vaults, though not the only such device in existence, since Hornet can purchase one for her bell home in Bellheart. Cardinius asks Hornet to seek out psalm cylinders, which can be found throughout the kingdom, and in return gives her rosaries and lets her listen to the cylinder's contents. Cardinius fervently seeks knowledge of the Citadel because it claims that there are holes in its history, which is likely by design on the part of the Weavers and certain other Citadel bugs. Cardinius wants this knowledge badly enough that it will let Hornet make demands of it, even though doing so to a Vault Keeper would normally be punishable by death. When Hornet tells Cardinius that she seeks the Vault Keeper's melody, it tells her that only the Pontiff was ever allowed to keep the melody, let alone hear it. The Pontiff can be found dead elsewhere in the vaults, surrounded by scrolls and holding the cylinder which contains the Vault Keeper's melody. A certain white cloth in its conical hat seems to mark its position as leader. Cardinius mentions that the Pontiff learned a deep secret and fell silent, and the Pontiff's Needle-In dialogue confirms that it learned the truth about Grandmother Silk and the Citadel's purpose of keeping her bound in slumber. As for how the Pontiff died, the cause may have been old age, something related to the haunting, or it became overwhelmed by shame upon its discovery to the point where it let itself waste away and die. Cardinius considers Hornet a thief for taking the Vault Keeper's melody, which it believes is sacred. It tells that sharing the melody with an outsider would be sacrilege, indicating that no single bug was ever meant to have all three parts of the threefold melody, since the holders of each would neither give them up to just anyone, nor leave their designated areas of the Citadel. Cardinius still agrees to play the melody on its listening device for Hornet to learn it on her Needle-In. Once Hornet gives Cardinius all the psalm cylinders to be found, it considers its collection complete and goes back to its never-ending search for knowledge among the vaults. Like many NPCs, Cardinius becomes aware of the state of Pharloom in Act 3, even more desperately searching for information that may help return things to normal. There are a few more interesting things to note about the Whispering Vaults. First is the name and whether the whispering part is intended to be metaphorical, with the vaults holding knowledge that would be quietly shared as if by a whisper, or if the title is somehow literal and actual whispering voices can be heard within the space. The vaults are where pious Isamor has been hidden away after apparently being removed from the coral chambers, and the location of Trobio's stage. The vaults connect directly to the open air outside the Citadel, drop down into bile water at the bottom, and have an elevator to the underworks, despite all of these seemingly not fitting with the purpose of the vaults to be enclosed and only connected to the rest of the Citadel proper. As an archivist myself, I think I could give the Vault Keepers a few pointers on that. What do you think of the Whispering Vaults lore? What do you believe happened to the Pontiff? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. I've been making and will continue to make lore videos about different areas of Pharloom and the Citadel, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any in the future. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.